Hello and welcome to this special LL basketball preview show. I'm John Buffone of GameTimePA Lancaster, and with me is Andrew Callahan and Pat Huggins at Lebanon Daily News. And we have a segment we like to call Blazin' Hot Picks. Now, what that means is we're going to give you our picks for the quarterfinals in the LL Boys tournament, and then we're going to hit you with some hot takes, the hottest of takes, if you will, where we make some bold predictions in the upcoming 2016 LL Boys basketball tournament. Gentlemen, are you ready to share your blazing hot picks?
I think we are.
I've been getting warm all day.
We're ready or not.
All right, let's start off with the first game. That would be Elko traveling to Section 1 champion JP McCaskey. Who do you got between the Raiders and the Red Tornado?
Well, the Raiders have had a great season, no question about it, qualifying for the league playoffs. They're a pretty dynamic offensive team, but they're running into McCaskey on their home floor. It's going to be tough, so I'm going to have to go with the Red Tornado there.
Yeah, the Raiders, to me, are the dark horse here in this year's tournament. I think their hot shooting can carry them out of almost any problem, but there are going to be a lot of new elements for them heading down to McCaskey. And even speaking with them after their most recent win at Donegal, you know, they know the atmosphere and the athleticism of McCaskey are going to pose problems, and I think it's going to be a lot to overcome and adjust to early, which should give the Red Tornado an early lead, and then it's a matter of can they just sustain and keep out of transition. I think it's a close game when McCaskey advances.
I'm also taking McCaskey. I just think that they get out in transition way too quick. They are probably the most athletic team in the LL. They have the outside game with Randolph Speller. They got Kobe Gantz, who is arguably the best offensive player in the LL, and they're on their home court. I got to give the edge to the Red Tornado. Let's move on to the next game. That would be Lancaster Catholic and Conestoga Valley. Now, Lancaster Catholic won a Section 4 that some might call a little bit watered down this year. Conestoga Valley showed flashes in Section 2, but also had some hiccups. Who do we got in this one between the Buckskins and the Crusaders?
I like Lancaster Catholic in this one. What you said about Section 4 I think is correct, but they've got a lot of playoff tradition, a lot of pride in that program, and I think they find a way to get out of the first round and move into the semis.
I like CV on the road. You know, they had a hiccup there in the regular season finale at E-Town, but they kept the pressure on Lebanon down the stretch because they've got some really good veteran pieces that I think will come to the forefront for them down at Catholic, and they'll be able to move on to the semifinals against McCaskey.
I like the road team here, too. I've seen CV a few times. Their ceiling's relatively high. They have some athletes on there. Javon Marrero comes to mind right off the top of my head. If they can play to the fullest of their capabilities, They have everything they need to win this game, so I'm going to take the Buckskins to move on to the semifinals to face McCaskey. Let's move on to the next one. That would be Lancaster Mennonite at Lebanon. Now the Cedars hosting the Blazers. Lebanon wins Section 2 in this one. I assume you guys like the Cedars, but that's just me talking. That's a hot take on your hot take. So let's go ahead.
That's a pretty good prediction on your part. Yeah, I like Lebanon here. I think. Home playoff game, I think they can handle Lancaster Mennonite on their home court. I think they're looking to make some noise in the LL tournament, so I'm going with the Cedars.
You know, Mennonite opened its season at Lebanon in the tip-off tournament. They suffered a blowout loss, and I think it's going to end much the same way for their LL tournament run here. I like the Cedars, the way they've adjusted from some midseason adversity. They're going to be at home. They know how to apply pressure and also take it. They're going to move on to the semis.
I'm also going to go with the Cedars. I think they have they play I want to say a similar game to JP McCaskey, but they also have that athletic style play where they like to get up and down the court a little bit to an extent. So I'm gonna take Lebanon to get past the Blazers. Let's move on to the last one. That would be Section 1 runner-up Cedar Crest traveling to Lampeter Strasbourg, who won Section 3, only one loss this year. This is a very interesting game, possibly the best game in the quarterfinals. We might have some different opinions on this one. Pat, who are you taking between the Falcons and the Pioneers?
That's going to be a tough one. LS, I think, is legit as a Section 3 champ, real quality team. Cedar Crest struggling a little bit late in the regular season, but I think Evan Horn finds a way to get Cedar Crest out of the first round and then pull the upset over there. I just think he's got a little more basketball he wants to play, so one of the Falcons there.
I want to take what you finished saying there, definitely the most interesting matchup we hear in the first round. The Falcons looking for a three-peat as league champions, and I think they're going to take on the current favorite right now as it stands in the bracket against LS. Really well-coached team, really well-balanced. They make a lot of good decisions. And even though, speaking with Cedar Crest, they feel like they match up well enough with the Pioneers to give them a good game, I think it's going to be a close game that goes to an extra session, and then LS is just able to pull it out with too many weapons there that the Falcons will have to fend off. But they bounced back from a tough stretch down. They were able to win at Penn Manor in their regular season finale to finally get themselves in with help from Hempfield. But I think LS is just too much this year. They're a team on a mission, and they're going to show it on Saturday.
I'm not going to ruin my hot take here, but I'm taking Cedar Crest. You look at the pedigree of Cedar Crest, and it seems like whenever the light shines the brightest, they are able to answer the call. They're in the tournament. They play well in tournaments. Not to take anything away from Lampeter Strasbourg, who is the home team here. This is not going to be easy. In fact, I think it may come down to the end, but I'm going to save that hot take until later. But I'm taking the Falcons just because I think that once tournament time comes around, they're going to start clicking the way that they want to be clicking. All right, guys. Like we did in the girls segment, it is now time to pick a champion. Out of the 8 teams in there, you got plenty of teams that could potentially make a run. You got to pick a 2016 champion. Andrew, I'm going to start with you. Who wins the 2016 LL Boys Championship?
Well, LS enters with only 1 loss this season, fewest in the LL, and they're going to exit with the exact same number of defeats. They're going to go on and I think take the title this year. They've been arguably the best team from start to finish. They're going to prove that. Same in the tournament. You know, they've got really good pieces in place. Ben Sandberg can jump out of the gym. Matt Achille, coach's son, proves that on the floor with the way he handles, and they've got shooters on the outside. Good defenders. They play together. You know, there are really few things you couldn't say positive about this team, and they're going to ride all of those positives to a championship.
That's a pretty convincing argument, but
it's a very good argument.
I believe you picked against them in the first round.
I believe I did. So sorry, LS, can't do that. I'm gonna go with McCaskey. I think this is their year. They got 2 good, impressive wins over Cedar Crest and a team that they really couldn't solve the last couple of years. So I just think it's McCaskey's time, and they're gonna pull it off this year.
I'm in agreement with you. I'm taking the Red Tornado. I think after talking to Kobe Gantz after they won Section 1, he said that up until this year, they haven't taken away much hardware because they haven't won the section. They've had some trouble in leagues. I mean, but they made it to the state semis last year, and they didn't have a whole lot of hardware to show for it.
Right.
This year, they're a little more focused. They're gelling. They have that, as you and I talk about constantly, Andrew. They might have the highest ceiling out of all the teams in the LL, and if they can play to their full potential, I don't see anyone who's going to stop them. So I'm also taking J.P. McCaskey to win the LL tournament. But now it is time for the fun part of this segment, where we have the hottest of takes. This is a bold prediction that probably won't come true, but if it does, we will look brilliant. Andrew, what is your hot take for the 2016 LL Boys Tournament?
Well, I've been touting LS this entire time, and I'm happy to ride with them all the way until the very end, but it's going to be a tough stretch until they get there. So tough that they're going to have to win twice in overtime. First against Cedar Crest, I think at home. Neutral site game, I foresee them taking on Lebanon, which can defend 1 through 5, and it's going to force them into an extra session. But like I said, that experience, the versatility, and their balance is going to carry them through. And then the championship will not go into overtime. They're going to settle it there. But the first 2 games are really going to push the Pioneers to the limit, and they're going to show what they're made of. Eventually, a championship team.
So your hot take is LS will have to get through 2 overtime games to get to the finals.
Yep.
That is a blazing hot take.
That's what we're here for, baby.
All right, Pat, what is your hot take of the 2016 LL Boys Tournament?
It's a little lukewarm compared to that, but I tipped it off already. But I'm going to say all Lebanon County semifinal with Cedar Crest and Lebanon. They're in the one half of the bracket. It was a championship game 2 years ago. Great atmosphere, great environment, a great game for Lebanon County. People to be involved in. I see it happening again. I obviously picked Cedar Crest upset LS in the first round and Lebanon to beat Mennonite. So going with an all Lebanon County semifinal there, Cedar Crest and Lebanon.
And that would be a very exciting matchup. My hot take kinda is on the same level as yours, only the complete opposite. I'm going to say that Cedar Crest, I guess you could say, upsets LS, but they do so on a game-winning buzzer beater shot. I say that LS is going to be in control of the game, and Cedar Crest is going to come back, and it's going to come down to a final shot. Could be Evan Horn. But, okay, I'll say it's Evan Horn. I'll say Evan Horn takes the last shot.
Good bet.
Takes the last shot for Cedar Crest and hits a buzzer beater at the very end of the game and puts Cedar Crest into the semifinals on their way into the finals, where they will lose to McCaffrey. So that is my blazing hot take. Well, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter to see how wrong we are about all of this. So until next time, I'm John Buffone for Pat Huggins and Andrew Callahan. Enjoy the games, everybody. We'll see you out there.